health plan to VIA benefits, the individual Medicare Gap or Medicare Advantage marketplace. So Todd, if I could have you come up. He is going to do a presentation. If you have questions, we're going to encourage you to go over to the conference benefits table over there in the hallway, and several of us will be present to address your questions. Thank you. Thank you, Todd.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. So I've been with Westpath, since April of 2012, and I've had the opportunity to do a lot of different presentations. Most recently, I've been working with the pension and presenting on those, and also with VIA Health. And so this slide deck will show you what the why they are proposing this transition to VIA benefits. We'll talk about who VIA is, and then we'll talk about what that move looks like to VIA, okay? If there's one thing that I'd like you to remember about this presentation is if this proposal passes, all you'll need to do is contact VIA, and they will be able to enroll you in a health plan. That's it. And you'll get to choose the health plan of your choice. And that choice will fit you better. It'll be like a tailored suit versus purchasing off the rack, okay? Because you'll be able to pick a plan that will match your medical needs, your pharmacy needs, and it'll also match your budget, okay? And then there's also a health reimbursement account that will, the New England, sorry, I'm going to mess up my news, my New England annual conference, they're actually going to provide an HRA, a health reimbursement account contribution. That contribution is your money. That contribution is used to pay your premiums and other medical care needs. So this proposal the change is really due to a couple reasons. One driver is cost. There was a large increase in cost for the Medicare Advantage plan through the current provider. Fortunately, the New England Annual Conference was able to absorb that. You didn't see that increase in cost. But when we talk about Medicare plan, medical plans, the one word that we talk about is sustainability. The VIA plan is more sustainable and won't have those large increases in cost. So VIA really allows both the opportunity for retirees and their spouses to save money, but also to have the flexibility to choose a plan that's really their best fit for each individual. Every individual has different healthcare needs, pharmacy, doctor's visits, and also financial preferences. Those are all different. So VIA Benefits is able to provide a large number of plans. Essentially, VIA is a marketplace. You know, we heard of the health exchange marketplaces with the ACA, Obamacare. Essentially what VIA is, it's created a retiree medical marketplace. They were the first to do it. They've actually been in business for 19 years. While their name has changed over time, what they do has stayed the same and improved. So they have, they've been in business for 19 years. Their first 3 clients that they worked with were rather small clients. You probably never heard of them before. Let me see if you've heard of them. So their first 3 clients were Ford, GM, and Chrysler. So their first year, they had the big 3 automakers. So you'll be able to pick a plan that fits your individual needs. As I mentioned, there's less cost volatility for the church and for the local churches in the short term, and that makes it more sustainable. Sorry about that. If the proposal passes, you'll be in really good company. These are all of the annual conferences that currently adopt VIA through WestPath. You've got some neighbors, Upper New York and New York annual conferences both use VIA, as well as all the other annual conferences listed on this webpage. So VIA provides more choice in plans, a larger number of plans to choose from, and then that will give you the ability to personalize your choice. To the conference, the cost is more predictable, and they'll likely not experience those large increases which occurred last year, and thus making the plan more sustainable. And it's also important to remember that Medicare exchanges are much different than the active exchanges because they're regulated by Medicare, okay? So they're kind of overseeing it. And incidentally, this is the first of many communications and the first of many opportunities for you to learn about VIA, if VIA passes. Here is the WestPath experience. So there's 32 plan sponsors. WestPath has actually been working with VIA since 2012. Presently, there's 32 plan sponsors using VIA. That represents over 9,000 eligible participants. And what is really, truly amazing is that represents over 1,000 unique plans that were chosen. That kind of diversity, that kind of choice would be very, very difficult for any one company, whether it's an annual conference or WestPath, to do. Because they've created that marketplace, that's what they have available. Those 1,000 unique plans was actually derived from over 100 different insurance companies. And I have a slide a little bit later that will show you some common names of the insurance plans, AARP, Blue Cross Blue Shield. But if you have a plan that you haven't recognized, or you haven't recognized the name yet, you can rest assured that VIA has vetted that plan, that they have determined it was a quality plan and the company is a quality company. So just because you haven't heard of it before doesn't mean it's second rate. So VIA Benefits is a company, it's owned by Willis Towers Watson. Willis Towers Watson is a well-known consulting company in benefits and finance, and they actually help to do, am I back? They actually help to do some of the modeling on the HRA amount that'll get put in your account each year. And they also did some modeling on just making sure that there was appropriate coverage across the different zip codes. So VIA allows the conference to give you funding into your HRA, that health reimbursement account. The HRAs are actually tax advantaged. That means that you're not taxed when you receive that money. And as long as you use it for a qualified expense, you're not taxed on using it, okay? So that's what we mean by tax advantaged. So the conference funding with VIA Benefits, the health reimbursement arrangement account, so this HRA has money in it that's available to you to use for your premium and also for your pharmacy and also for your doctor's visits. VIA has individuals called certified benefit counselors, and those are the individuals that you'll work with to find a plan that works for you. So the certified benefit counselor from VIA will help you find that plan. They'll actually complete the paperwork for you to enroll you in that plan. So you don't need a computer to enroll in VIA. You don't need a computer to interact with your health plan, okay? So if you're concerned about that, you don't have to, I'm a telephone person. If there's an option to call and talk to somebody, that's my choice. So I will call them. And when I'm in your shoes, I would call them to enroll. So then you'll once you've picked your plan, once you're enrolled, you'll pay the plan directly, either by check or direct deposit, and the VIA benefit counselor can help you set up that direct deposit. And then after a couple of months of getting that set up, initially, you'll begin to receive those reimbursements coming back to you, okay? You can set up an automatic payment for your premium. So each month, you'd pay your premium, then that health insurance company notifies VIA and says so-and-so paid their premium, they would like a reimbursement. VIA would then check your account, check to make sure the money's there. The money's there, they'll put it back in the bank account that you chose. All while you're doing your great ministry, all while you're living your retirement, right? So all of that's going to happen behind the scenes. You don't have to worry about that. One feature that I find really interesting is the joint HRA account. So for married clergy, and if your spouse is also covered by VIA, you'll have one HRA account. That means only one thing to look at. I love that idea. Okay, so, and both of your annual contributions would get put into that account, and you can both use the money in that account. And what's interesting is you don't have to use it equally. Let's say if you each get $2,000, there's $4,000 in the account. There's one person has expenses of $3,000, the other one has expenses of $500. Well, if a total of $4,000 went in that account, you just spent $3,500 if my math is correct. Usually my math in public is not that good. But that $500 then rolls over to the next year. There's no limit on the amount of money that can roll over to the following years, okay? The key, though, is you need to sign up through VIA. We're all awake occasionally at 1 o'clock in the morning. We all watch TV occasionally at 1 o'clock in the morning. And you see those ads, call in today, it's Joe Namath, it's another sports star, call in and sign up for this. Please resist. Resist. My recommendation would be to go grab a glass of milk and a cookie and change the channel, because you want to make sure that you enroll through VIA so that you get the HRA contribution, okay? Here's a quick example, a visual of what I just explained. I still think visually this is too complicated, but in the reality is you're going to pay your premium, and that'll be through automatic withdrawal, right? You'll pay them automatically. Your insurance company then says, hey, VIA, so-and-so paid their premium, they'd like the reimbursement. And then VIA would reimburse you. That would go back into your bank account. Okay, so pretty straightforward. The VIA benefit advisors will help you set up this automatic payment, okay? This is a rather complicated slide, and to be honest, I didn't understand it for the first, 10 minutes that I looked at it. But the reality is, this is the result of all the analyses that Westpath did, that the actuaries at Westpath did, and the actuaries at WTW. So the New England Conference will provide up to $2,668 per year in HRA money, and that's per covered individual. Okay, so $2,668 up to that for a participant and up to that for covered spouse. So that amount was actually determined through all the analyses that Westpath and all the actuaries did. The analysis included, it was probably hundreds of analyses. They ran it a bunch of different ways, and they landed on that number as that number being the good number. So the analysis included retirees from New England, their ages, the zip codes where they live. So this is bringing that analysis back to your home, to your neighborhood, to your zip code, because that can change based on zip code. The analysis included the amount of health care that you may need. So some with a little health care, some with a little more health care, and some with a lot of health care. So it was looked at many different ways to find out where that number landed. And that's where they came up with 2668. So the VIA benefit advisors will help you identify plans that will help save you money. And essentially what this line does, that top line that kind of tails down toward the end, that's the percentage of the population that would save money. And essentially the vast majority of the retirees in the New England Annual Conference would save money. There's a plan in here to save you money. And it's not just one plan to select from. I've got a couple of slides. A couple of slides later, I have a couple stats that I'll read to you as far as the average number of plans in each zip code. And New England is very well covered. So this is the proposed HRA funding for 2026. So it's up to $2,668. And that would be that's 100%. You'd receive 100% if you were 24 years or more. 20 to 23 years of service, you'd receive 80% of that figure. 15 to 19, you'd receive 67%. 11 to 14, 50%. And then 10 years of service, you'd receive a third of that, 33%. So that's the amount that would get deposited in your HRA account each year. Kind of a complicated slide, but this really boils down to what do you need to do? Presently, you don't need to really do anything. If you wanted to start working on something, you could actually write down all of your medicine that you take, the dosage, the frequency, write down the doctors that you take, that you see, and then you could just set that aside, waiting to have your appointment with that VIA benefit educator. And that'll likely take place between October and November. And the really neat thing about VIA, once they have your name and contact information, they really want you to enroll. They really want you to select a plan. So let's say you were really busy in October and midway through November. By that point, they're likely going to call you. Hi, this is Stephen. I'm from VIA. Do you have about an hour? Because they want to make sure that they get you in. This is a special enrollment period, okay? Because your coverage, if the proposal goes through, you'll essentially lose coverage in United Healthcare Medicare Advantage plan. You'll begin coverage January 1 of 2026. And you wouldn't lose coverage until the end of January, or end of December. So what does a retiree need to do if it passes? You're going to get loads of communications from VIA benefits so that you don't miss the opportunity to enroll. Essentially, you'll set that appointment up. You'll enroll in a plan. You'll begin paying those premiums for your plan. VIA will then help you set up that automatic reimbursement for your premiums. The reason why you can do that is because that cost is known, right? You're going to have a monthly premium cost. That'll stay the same for the year. So you can set up an automatic reimbursement. For medicines and medical coverage, those amounts change. So those are a different reimbursement process. Essentially, you'll submit it to VIA, and they'll reimburse you. Resources that you have available. You have WestPath. You have the benefit education team. You have the annual conference. And probably the best source is the VIA benefit advisors. The VIA benefit advisors are licensed in the state that they sell insurance. I said sell, and technically, yes, they're selling insurance. They are not directly paid by the plan they sell you. So they're not going to push you to a plan that you're not comfortable with. They won't push you to a plan that you don't understand. They're going to educate you so that you could make the choice on your terms. They're not, they receive a salary. The individual benefit educators receive a salary, but they're not compensated based on the plan that you choose. What help will be available? There's going to be a lot. New England Annual Conference already has a VIA webpage up, which is terrific. It has a video on it from a webinar that was done on May 1st. That was led by Kelly Whittick, the Director of Health and Wellbeing at Westpath. So this is just the beginning of that education process. So let's talk about the process a little bit. On the left-hand side, that's what I recommended, that if you wanted to start getting ready for that call in October, you can actually pull together if you have an HSA or an HRA now, have that available, but then write down your drug, your pharmacy, your medicines, the dosage, the frequency, the doctors that you see, general practitioner, any specialty doctors, write all that down. And then come October, you can have that conversation, and you can have that conversation a couple different ways. So you could pull together your medical information and then call them, and then you'll give them your medical information. They'll enter that in the system, and then they'll be able to narrow it down and discuss the options that they found, and that's the purple box in the middle. If you're a self-starter or a DIY person, you could actually go to VIA Benefits, create an account, enter your information, including your medicine and your doctor's names, and the system itself will crunch the numbers and identify plans for you. And then you could look through those plans. If you found a plan that you liked, you could actually enroll right there without that phone call. Occasionally, there are plans in there, there are a few, where you actually have to have a conversation with a benefit advisor. And if that's the case, you're prompted at the bottom to select a time and a date for that conversation to take place. So you don't have to worry, oh, I just enrolled online. Did I pick a plan where I didn't need? If you enrolled online, that last step is entering or selecting a time and date for that confirmation call. If that wasn't there, then you didn't need to have that conversation. So you're all set, okay? If you are somebody like me, I would gather my medicine and gather my doctor's information, and then I'd have a conversation with that benefit advisor. That call could last upwards of an hour, so charge your phone, okay? But rest assured, they will be on the call with you until you're satisfied. And if you wanted to enroll right then at the end of the call, you can, and they'll enroll you. If you wanted to think about it, you could hang up and have a conversation with them again to enroll after you've kind of worked through the process, okay? And I'm probably more that. Show me, let me think, and then I'd call back and enroll. Sorry about that. I won't spend much time here, but as you look at this, you see some readily noticeable names. Blue Cross Blue Shield, just a picture, right? It's a blue cross and a blue shield. ARP, Silver Script, Humana, Renaissance Dental, Aetna, Medical Scripts. So this is just a fraction of the number of the plans that are available. This is a very high-touch vendor, meaning they are there for you, they will educate you, they are there to help, they're not there to sell. They're 100% domestic workforce. All throughout the year, they will help you with advocacy. You can call them up and say, why was this billed? Why was my office visit billed this way? They will be able to explain that to you. All of the benefit advisors are licensed and certified by the state that they're selling that insurance in, okay? There's also neutral compensation. VIA, as a company, gets paid for enrolling a participant in a particular plan, but not the benefit advisor, right? That's how VIA makes their money. We also do some cultural training with the VIA benefit advisors to let them know what it's like to be clergy. When you call, they'll likely say, "Hi, Reverend, how can I help you?" Okay. And then all throughout the year, they're available for that individual telephonic support. There's also a ton of great information in the VIA website. So you'll ultimately have a VIA account that you can log into, but it's not a need. It's a good to have. It's not a necessary to have. You could actually go to this website right now and look at the plans that are available. But we caution you not to spend a lot of time here because this is 2025 information and the rates may change for next year. But if you wanted to see what it looked like, by all means, you can go right there. Sorry about that. This is a high-tech clicker. I'm used to low-tech. So just real quick, I think I've got like 4 minutes left. Here are some questions that we hear about. So let's go through and answer a couple of these to get you comfortable because you might have these questions as well. The first one is, can I keep the current UHC plan? No, that's not possible. That's a group plan. So if that proposal passes, the VIA proposal passes, then the new plan will be through VIA. However, you won't need to have a computer to enroll in VIA. And do you have to use VIA benefits to choose a plan? In order to get the HRA, the Health Reimbursement Arrangement Contribution, yes, you do. Why should you feel confident in VIA benefits? Well, VIA benefits has been around for 19 years doing great work. Westpath has firsthand experience with 32 different clients that have been using VIA, and all we hear is a great response back from participants and from conference benefit officers. Can we see what plans are available now? Yes, you could go back to that link that I showed you, and you could search to see what's available now. However, they might be different come 2026. When you have that appointment, though, in October or November, so when you have that appointment, when you have that phone call to enroll, those plans then are set for 2026. So by October of this year, 2026 is all set, ready to go, and they'll be able to enroll you at that time. If you have any additional questions, I'll be out here for the rest of the day at the booth, at the New England Annual Conference Benefit booth with Thelma, and we also have Tony Prespatino from Westpath that we can answer all your VIA questions as well. And I think we're concluding. Oh, next steps. So this is to get you comfortable. Sorry about that. Next steps. So now you don't need to do anything. Think about, what your vote will be. Annual conference is right now. You'll vote on that proposal this week. September, October, there's going to be workshops for you to attend, led by a VIA benefit advisor. October through November, you'll actually select your plan. Come January 1 of 2026, you'll be in the plan that you picked that fits you best with VIA benefits. Thank you. Forgot about that last slide.